All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, the WBA makes a statement about Gervonta Davis, causes a lot of confusion. Are they going to overturn the fight? Are they not going to overturn the fight? We have the answer from the WBA. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 135-pound division, where there's been more crybabying, more hissy-fitting, and more drama than I have seen in a while over the outcome of a fight, which strikes me as very, very, very strange, because the Gervonta Davis fight with Lamont Roach is not that confusing. It ended in a draw. Neither fighter won. They move on to a rematch. People aren't happy with the outcome. But, of course, there was a little something extra to that fight in the fact that Gervonta Davis took a knee, apparently, and wiped off his face. And many people are saying that he should be disqualified from the fight. Well, the WBA made a statement, and the New York State Athletic Commissioner looking into it. There was a lot of confusion going on yesterday. So Gilberto Mendoza, who is the head of the WBA, wrote a letter explaining exactly what it is. Now, before I get into the detail, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And if you're a longtime subscriber and supporter of the channel, thank you so much for your continued support. The short of it is that the WBA is not going to overturn that fight. That's the long and short of it. And how do I know that? Because the head of the WBA said, we are monitoring the rematch of this fight very closely. Essentially, what the WBA did was say that they believed that that call by the referee was the wrong call. At least, I believe it's Gilberto Mendoza. I don't think it's Paco Varcarcel, so please forgive me. The president of the WBA said that he thought that there was a bad call and that it should have been called a knockdown. That was what he believed. That's the stance of the WBA. But what the WBA is not going to do is they're not going to overturn the fight. What they're going to do is say, okay, that's a bad call in a fight. Moved on. Do we think that it affected the outcome of the fight? Yes, we do think it affected the outcome of the fight. So since it affected the outcome of the fight, we're going to say we're watching. We hope you guys can get a rematch done. Now, they did not say that they were ordering the rematch. They just said that we are watching it and we're watching the negotiations for the rematch. That's what they said. And to tell you the truth, that is the most reasonable remedy to this situation that you could have. The WBA just ordering the rematch, because for several reasons. One, you cannot say because that was not considered to be a 10-8 round, that means the fight would have been a win for Lamont Roach. Now, it affected the outcome of the fight because obviously it's a 10-9 score, not a 10-8 score. So it doesn't, however, mean that it is going to determine that the outcome would have been a win. So yes, it can affect the outcome. It can have just like every round in the fight affects the outcome. But that doesn't mean that any single thing or any single round was the reason that the outcome was a win, a loss, or a draw. So don't expect this stuff to go very far at all. Now, as far as the confusion that was out there was an article that was written by the WBA where the WBA said something to the effect that they thought that there was nothing unusual or something about the call of Steve Willis. And so the president of the WBA took exception with that and said, no, we took that article down because we don't agree with that statement or the statements that were made within the article. So they took it down, right? So the statements that I have to assume that they were talking to was when they said that they didn't believe that Steve Willis had done anything wrong or he didn't do anything, whatever the words were that they used, which basically absolve Steve Willis of the responsibility that Steve Willis had. The WBA is essentially saying through the president, no, we did not agree with that. We thought that thing should have been a knockdown. Now, there's a lot of people out there thinking, oh, okay, that means that they're going to overturn it. We're going to get it overturned. Man, why? Why would you get that? Why would you get it getting overturned from what the WBA said? The WBA, again, just said they're looking for a rematch. Now, when you're looking at the other review of the fight that's taken place, the New York State Athletic Commission, I doubt very much that they overturn that fight and turn it to a win for Lamont Roach. It's just not very reasonable. It's something that would be unfair to Gervonta Davis, because Gervonta Davis was told in that 9th round that was not a knockdown. And he moved forward with the understanding of what the New York State Athletic Commission and the referee had decided. And since the issue with the knockdown is with the calling of the knockdown, and whether they call it a knockdown or not is not Gervonta's fault. Gervonta should not be punished after the fact for a mistake that was made in real time by the referee and by the New York State Athletic Commission's replay machine. Now, the New York State Athletic Commission said that their replay machine wasn't working. So if your replay machine wasn't working and you only had a round and a half, you have in between the round and up to a minute into the next round to review it, really, that should be the end of it. But it's not going to be the end of it, because we have boxing podcasts. And I have to tell you, man, so our boxing coverage is so biased and one-sided against Gervonta Davis that is amazing. You can literally hear a bunch of Gervonta Davis fans saying, yeah, it was a close fight. I think Gervonta won, or yeah, I could have had it a draw, or I think Lamont may have won by a round. Hey, I'm a Gervonta Davis fan, but I don't want to, say, something that's not true, want to call it fairly. But you have these people out here on Twitter rapidly demanding from the WBA that they disqualify Gervonta Davis, because if Gervonta Davis doesn't get the 10-9 round, then you should just disqualify him altogether, because he wiped his face off in the middle of the round. You're not supposed to be able to wipe your face off in the middle of the round. Disqualify that man. Yeah, bro, that's really how we're going to grow that's how we're going to grow boxing. All these people talking about wanting to grow boxing by overturning by a week later, overturning the outcome of a major fight like that because people think the referee made a mistake. So overturn the whole thing. Or as soon as you wipe your face off, disqualify him in front of 19,000 people and end it. And how can you, and by the way, you're going to disqualify him after the fact? You know what I mean? You're not going to disqualify him right there. You're going to let the fight go on, continue the fight, and then have this dude get punched upside the head for another 3 rounds. But then after it, just act like those rounds don't count because somebody on YouTube says he's not allowed to wipe his face. It's absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.